Pretty cool technology.
Okay, so we should be live now. This is Howard Owens with the Batavian, and we're going to do a live stream interview now. This is the second one we've done since with the coronavirus issue right now. I thought we'd start doing some live stream interviews of community leaders, and we're going to get on the line here Anibal Soler, the superintendent of Batavia City School District.
How you doing, Howard?
Now I've got you on there. So, first of all, welcome back to Batavia, I suppose. And you've been in the job 2 months. Quite a ways to start a new job.
Yeah, definitely not how you plan it as your first superintendency, starting out your first 60 days in a district. But part of the job is always being flexible, adjusting to what gets handed to you, and it's a little easier when you got a great staff. So.
Well, appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. I know there's a lot going on for you right now. So, first of all, just give us an update of what's going on in the city school district right now.
So, obviously, we closed. We were state of emergency this past weekend, declared for Genesee County. We closed effective. Today was the first day of closure. And so what we did and what we put in place really quickly was the ability to distribute food. And today we opened up the high school from noon to 3 for students to come in, get their technology, their Chromebooks. We are a one-to-one district. So we have started with our high school first in terms of getting them in access, let them get their personal belongings out of their lockers. We know we don't really have a definitive date as to when we'll come back. So we want to try to prepare for an extended long period of time to be away, while also giving some access to instructional resources. And for us as well, because we're the city, making sure that we have access to nutritional things like breakfast and lunch for families that may or may not need it, but we want to make sure that anybody in the household 18 and under have that option.
So what has been the message to students about the pandemic?
So, we spent a little time. The nice thing is we had the Friday with the kids before, and obviously this had already started to gain some momentum across the country nationally. And so, many of our teachers talked about it. They shared various videos. There was a Brain Pop video that we posted on our website, our Facebook page, kind of giving an understanding of what it was and, really healthy habits on washing your hands and things of that nature. And so that's kind of the surface level education. And we've encouraged parents to obviously share with their families. And we've created on our Batavia website a COVID-19 kind of tab right at the very top that has some resources for parents, resources for kids, has videos that kind of have some of that conversation around what this exactly means. We talked a little bit about social distancing and really trying to understand that, what does that look like? So those are kind of the surface level things we've done in a short amount of time. It's really hard now that we don't have the kids with us on educating them, but really sharing with parents and encouraging them to have some of these conversations.
So that leads into a question that I did want to ask you about, and that is, one of the issues I'm seeing, like some people raise on social media, and I think this maybe have been some issue elsewhere in the country, is the kids get out of school, but now they still want to hang out with their friends, and they still might get together in large groups. What are you concerned about that, and are you taking any steps to kind of like address that potential issue?
Yeah, so we're going to do the best we can in terms of educating, continue to promote the message around social distancing, the importance of it. I think this is like for lack of a better word, this is a silent problem. You don't really necessarily see it. You don't necessarily know where it's at until either somebody starts to display symptoms that they've either, that are flu-like, they have sore throat, fever, those types of things that, and at that point, you already kind of know that either you are infected or you're just displaying symptoms of the flu. So at that point, it's really tough to tell. So we're really going to try to encourage our kids to just kind of, I know it's hard. We're all social beings. We all want to connect. We all want to hang out with our friends. And that's what school provided, right? Really social friends. And so really want to encourage them to maximize in technology and, FaceTime with their friends, Google Hangouts, Skype with their friends, figure out other ways to kind of stay engaged. But the message from the governor and, various county representatives have been to really eliminate as much social gathering. I know you've probably saw the governor has put a restriction on bars, restaurants, movie theaters, large gathering. I believe there's a travel ban advisory, 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. in terms of non-essential travel. So, I think we're going to ask everyone to kind of do their part. It's not easy. Believe me, it's not easy. But we're going to ask kids to try their best to not congregate outside of school together. And we've even talked to our coaches. They're not really encourage kids to get together at the field, to stay in shape and things of that nature. So, we do the best we can, but, at the end of the day, we all have freedom and free choice. And some folks will choose to believe it and some will choose not. And we just hope more people choose not.
So one of the things, just before we got on here, I received a press release from Empire Access. They're offering free Wi-Fi or free internet to students. I don't know the details of that. I didn't have a chance to look at it. I just kind of looked at the headline, but it just makes me think, and with especially some of your comments earlier, any other things that we as a community can do to help out with the students, with the school?
Yeah, I know it's hard. I mean, Spectrum's doing some work too. 60 days free for any customers that they aren't currently a Spectrum customer. If you have a school-age child, they're given 60 days free of Spectrum service. I don't know how fast they'll be able to turn that around. I think, if you have home Wi-Fi, again, I know this is a hard thing to ask them, maybe open up your networks within your neighborhoods and your communities so kids can get on. I know it's not the best thing in an IT world to tell people to open up their Wi-Fi at home and let people get on there. But I mean, I think one thing that I've learned in 60 days in Batavia, that this community cares for each other. And, we're really, our message has been, we are Batavia. We're got to be unified around this. And that, at the end of the day, we're better together. And so, any type of pandemic, any type of crisis, I've always seen communities come together to get through it. And, one simple thing that all of us could do is just open up our Wi-Fis and allow kids who may not have access but may have a Chromebook to get on your Wi-Fi. If you're a neighbor and you know that the neighbor doesn't and you have it, it would be a great gesture, again, for until the unforeseeable future right now. But, it's just something simple that we can do. Library networks, any businesses that have Wi-Fi within Genesee County, if you will open it up, I think it would be a great gesture. Again, will everyone use it appropriately? Yeah, we're not sure. We can debate that. But the goal is to try to promote that and to try to take care of each other, at least as a region.
So this is a time of great uncertainty, and I know a lot of us all hope, feel, maybe sense, maybe overly optimistic, we don't know, that this will blow over in a couple of weeks. But there are also experts out there, health experts, who say that this could go on for months. So in this time of uncertainty, near the end of the school year, you're also, coming into summer. I mean, how do you plan around this kind of uncertainty?
I mean, I think our biggest responsibility is what I would call continuity of care, making sure we're doing as much as we can to provide some care for our families. So that the food component is really big for us. We have, we are a district that fed every kid, regardless. We didn't ask for a free and reduced. We're eligible for what's called the community eligibility provision, which allows us to feed all our kids. So we know we have families that are dependent on meals. And so we want to make sure that we continue to provide that. I think the other piece is instructional resources. We know sometimes parents just don't have the ability, or they don't know what kids should be exposed to based on their grade level or content. So we're really working with our staff. Our Batavia Teachers Association is fantastic. They've stepped up and created by grade levels. It's right on our website. Folks can get access to. Really asking our teachers that even though you're home, continue to update those items so that our kids have meaningful activities to do this, so they can stay at least familiar with what's expected. Nothing replaces a good teacher. And so, we're not saying that it's going to replace them, but really making sure kids at least say, hey, I worked on this. We have technology. So we've been asking some of our teachers to create videos, create times where kids can log in and actually you're live with them. Again, hard to necessarily mandate, but I know our teachers will step up. I know our staff will step up to create as many opportunities for our kids. And so those are the things I think we can do within our control. And then at the end of the day, I think our biggest, piece as mankind is just, really thinking about what we can do for each other and spreading hope and keeping an optimistic, positive attitude. Because, I think I'd be happy if it just blew over and people say we overreacted. I'll be okay with that criticism. But for us to not overreact and then for us to have the latter and that be the judgment, I think, I can live with myself as a leader of this, district and this community. I just wouldn't want to see that happen.
So one of the I don't know, for lack of a better term, bright spots. I mean, one of the cool things that we've seen with come out of this is the way the Batavia football team, Brendan Briggs and his kids have stepped up. Just talk about that for a minute. What are your thoughts there?
I mean, that's what you want to see, right? That's ultimately I thought that's ultimately what education is about, teaching kids to be, at the end of the day, that's our core, to be productive citizens in this world. We want them obviously be educated, and if they want to pursue college or career or go right into entrepreneurship, that's great. But to really teach kids to take care of each other, obviously we wanted coach to make sure that, social distancing, that we model some of the behaviors that we're expecting. We don't want 50 kids out there together, working on it, but to be able to support one another, that's fantastic. So that, makes my heart feel good that it was self-driven. It wasn't required. But I think that's positive. And at the end of the day, I think that's, again, unique to Batavia, is this sense of taking care of each other. And again, you'll see probably pockets of that occurring across the country. But to know that our kids were at the forefront of that with their coach, I mean, that's what you want at the end of the day.
Do you have, I didn't switch over here. Do you have any thoughts or advice for parents, especially those of young children, how to get through this, how to deal with this?
I think, talking to your kids, just letting them know, telling them they're practicing good healthy habits. I think they need to stay informed. I would also tell you is also about the inputs, right? So don't maybe not put it on the news too much. Sometimes that can be a little bit too negative or being portrayed too in a light where it kind of gets you down on life a little bit. So maybe being okay with turning off the TV. There's some positive things you can still do with social distancing. Take a walk in your neighborhood. Get some fresh air, go outside and play with your kids, read to your kids. I mean, there's a lot of great things you can do when you got young kids. Technology sometimes replaces some of that play. So still even monitor that. You don't want kids, hooked on the screen all day while you're out of school, for, right now, an unforeseeable future. But, spend time with family. I think the biggest lesson we're all kind of learning is like, this social distancing may not necessarily be a bad thing. Kind of regroup as a family unit or as a home unit and really figure out, hey, spending time talking to your kids and, kind of just re-engaging in some basic activities, board games, bringing them back out and, playing with your kids and doing some of those things that we kind of lost, with technology. We kind of like, hey, we don't do that. We play now. You play at your house, I play at my house. The other thing about play dates is another thing. We just be careful with that because you just don't know what other people have been exposed to and you don't know where they've been to. So we don't want people to create other social gatherings outside of it. We want people to just, stay home and try to let's see what the numbers start to look like in our community. And, and again, for me, it's a good problem to have. If nothing comes up about it and people are mad that we did all this, I'm willing to deal with that. But what I'm not willing to deal with is saying we didn't do nothing and all of a sudden, a staff member was infected or a kid was infected, and then we just spread it. We just allowed it to spread. And so, again, I'll take the criticism for overreacting versus taking the criticism for underreacting.
Great. Any, Anibal, any final thoughts?
No, just, I think my final thought has been to everybody is just let's just stay together. Although we may not be physically together, let's stay together in spirit and let's stay together with patience and care. And as things come up in terms of the district, call us, let us know. If you've got suggestions, we're an open book. If you think of some free resources that we should share, our Facebook page, our website, send us a text, a call, a post, a comment. We're monitoring. We're doing the best we can. And our staff have family too. So I would just say give us a little bit of time because we're doing the best we can. And we're trying to discourage them from being always together. So today was a little bit, kind of calculated staff in the morning, kids in the afternoon. Feeding, 9 to noon, Monday through Friday, as of right now to the unforeseeable future. And so that's kind of our promise and commitment to you is that we'll provide some meals and, don't panic, just take care of each other. And our motto's kind of been, we'll get through this, better together. It's kind of been our motto.
So, Anibal, I appreciate your time. I know that you've got a lot going on, so I really appreciate that. We're here to help keep the community as informed as possible throughout this whole thing. I also want to let you know, use us as a resource for anything you need to get out there, anything we can do to help with. That's what the Batavian exists for. And so we're happy to help. And I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Howard. And you are on our distribution list now. So anytime we send an email out, you'll get it. Howard Owens is going to get it. So.
All right, great, thank you. And I
Take
want to
care.
thank everybody for watching. We're going to give me feedback on this. We're going to continue to do these interviews as often as we can. Let me know how it's going. If there's anybody you think we should talk to, let me know. This is Howard Owens with the Batavian, and thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank you.